What's going on, great people? It's the homie, the one and only Ashton Reynolds, and welcome to another episode of Millennial Talk Blessed Coast Edition. Well, you know, the homie got to give you an encouraging word as well as also bring forth family. When I say family, I mean people that identify with the same things that I do as far as seeing the full progression of the communities as we move together as one for sure. Great people, this is the Worldwide Community Empowerment Group, where we utilize these platforms to ensure that you have the proper information to ensure and make sure that you understand that we care about you and have your best interest at heart. And great people, I am so honored and humbly grateful to have this incredible brother here joining me on this show today. See, I'm not going to prolong the introduction because I value this person's time just like I value everybody's time. But I just want you to know right now, Tuesday, November 4th, early voting starts. And you know, when that time comes around, I open up my platform to incredible people who I have the personal opportunity to sit down and meet with and really get to know them. So that way they can also present themselves. So you know exactly when you see their name on the ballot, you know exactly what it is that you're getting for sure. So listen, without further ado, y'all see the brother smiling and sharper than attack. Y'all see the brother right there. I'm going to lay back and just present to you the one and only Mr. James Whitmore. How you doing, sir?
Oh, Ashton, I'm doing great. I'm blessed by the best and I'm highly favored. And I'm really honored to be on your talk show today. I tell you what, God does things in mysterious ways. And I pride myself on my platform of just walking straight,
Yes,
talking
sir.
straight, and being there for the people. My motto is a very simple one that I am always working for the people. That's my motto. That's been my motto for over 10 years sitting on council. And I'm going to continue to do so because I'm ready to move the city of Fairburn forward.
But he already jumped straight into it. I love it. That's what I'm talking about, sir. And you look, I've seen it firsthand. You know, I've seen the love that you have for the people. I've seen the love that you have for the city of Fairburn. And when I first met you, I already could feel that you really have Fairburn's heart inside of your heart, the people, everybody that's inside of these communities. You really take into consideration how they're feeling, as well as recognize the issues that need to be resolved. So, right now, the floor is yours to just let the people know exactly who you are and the fact that you're running for mayor, what it is that you plan to do to make sure that Fairburn is restored back to the excellence that it is known for.
Well, you know what? That's a great segue into talking about the city of Fairburn. And our tagline is, we
Mm-hmm.
are situated to succeed. The thing is, or the question that needs to be asked, how are we situated to succeed? Do we continue to operate with the same old mindset and vision, or do we think outside the box? Well, listen, I'm going to be the mayor that's thinking outside the box. I have already started that just throughout this campaign. So let's talk about a couple of issues. I've been campaigning now since I resigned from my seat back in August and signed up to run for mayor. And I've been coming in touch with our citizens, and I've been hearing some very disturbing things. And in so doing, even while I'm campaigning, I still continue to reach out to the city manager and shared with him the thoughts of the citizens because I've been talking about it while I was sitting up on the dais. All right. So people don't think that I follow through. Let me rephrase that. People know that I follow through because they tell me when they call me about a situation, I jump on it, I grab staff, I get staff involved, get it resolved, and then I follow up with the citizens. I've been doing that from day one. So let's talk about some issues. What are the issues that we're having here in Fairburn? Number one is high utility bills. While the administration refuses to acknowledge that, but I just remember back in the council meeting where we had one community subdivision, HOA, where they came into council and they were in full force. And what they said was their bills have quadrupled. Now, Whenever something like that happens, there's a problem. The question is, what is the problem? What is the root of the problem? And while I was talking with the city administrator in his office and trying to break this thing down, and I even suggested to him, break the city up into 4 quadrants. And in so doing, let's really take a look at how these utility bills are being reviewed by our citizens and what's really going on. And the only answer I got was, well, we don't have a problem. They had to use that commodity, the utilities, right? That still didn't sit right with me because I continued to get complaints from citizens that their bills were quadrupling. So here's my problem. The city of Fairburn has lost total transparency and accountability. So why do I say that? When you have a city administrator that can call a citizen and admit to the citizen that the error was on the city, you know what they say, bad data in, bad data out. But he has never admitted that to myself as an elected official or anyone else. Well, maybe he mentioned it to the mayor, I don't know. But the problem remains that you did not share that information with all of the elected body. That's a problem. So now in that community, the bills are back down to where it should be, but we still have other pockets within the city of Fairburn that needs to be addressed. Now listen, let's be honest. We are replacing all our water meters. We had some old water meters throughout the city. Mechanical issues happen with those meters. So now when you put the new digital meters in, it's going to be 100% accountable for what is used in the household. But still, there's other issues going on. And I plan on diving deeper and finding out what the real issues are. We need to be responsible and accountable to our citizens in answering these questions, not just being silent. We should have been out front talking about this to all of our citizens, not just letting it lay dormant or think it's going to be dormant. I heard this throughout the city as I was campaigning. That's one. Number two, we have a beautiful Duncan Park. But as mayor, and I plan on being the next mayor here in the city of Fairburn, as mayor, where can we go in the city where we can have a mass gathering indoors? No place. Why is it that the city of Fairburn purchased Duncan Park from Fulton County and we paid a premium dollar under the previous administration of Mayor Avery? But our counterparts up north pay pennies on the dollar. Well, guess what? We can't do anything about that. We have to eat it, right? But what else can we do? What are we missing out at Duncan Park? You know, I thank God for Eric Berry, the Eric Berry Foundation, James Berry and his wife, where they have put a semi-pro artificial turf football field out at Duncan Park, which our youth, they play on. That's beautiful. But we need to do more than that. Where is our natatorium, indoor swimming pool? Where is the walking trail? Where is our community center? And the one thing I've been talking about, we have an organization, a soccer organization right here in the city of Fairburn. They can't practice or have games out of Duncan Park. Why is that? We don't have soccer fields. That is such an easy fix. You have the World Cup coming here to Atlanta next year. All of our cities throughout Atlanta, whether it's north or south, we're going to get an economic boom. We can't take care of a soccer field, not one, we probably need 3 to 4 out of Duncan Park with all that acreage that we have. To me, it makes no sense. Now, we have a champion, Nancy Sanchez, and she's actually running for council. That's her organization. But why is it the soccer organization is already communicating, wanting to come in and do these things? You have to have a mayor that's open-minded and that's willing to open up and say, come on, let's do this. Let's sit down at the table. Let's talk about the things that need to be done, and let's find a way to make it happen. Our kids should not have to go to Hateville or any other city to have a soccer game. So that's just dealing with that. Let's talk about economic development. Now, everybody knows that for years, the city of Fairburn has been redlined. And for those of you that do not know what I mean that there were other municipalities that made sure they blocked things that was attempted to happen here in the city of Fairburn. So when you get off at exit 61, which is the Fairburn exit, you'll pick up 74 and you'll go south. And everybody knows what's south of Fairburn. But everybody also realizes all those cities to south of Fairburn have to come north in order to get back on exit 61. Why do we have all these cars bypassing us and going to Tyrone and Peachtree City? Mm-hmm. When we should have the amenities or the stores that's needed to keep our tax base low and to make sure that we have the stores that our citizens are asking for. What's the biggest thing that they've been asking for? They've been asking for a white tablecloth sit-down restaurant. Well, let me say this. I have been approached by 3 businessmen already here in the city of Fairburn, and they are talking about bringing that type of level of dining to the city of Fairburn. Not only that, upon winning my election, I'm going to be flying down to Dallas, Texas to talk to a major chain, and I can't mention the name because of confidentiality, all right? But I'm looking forward to bringing that franchise here as well. So I'm being told by people like my opponent that you can't do this, that you have to work within the system. Like we have a master plan, and the master plan is always updated every 5 years. Well, here's the problem that I have with that. Okay, yes, we have a parks master plan, but we had an opportunity right there on Renaissance Parkway to put a citizens park right there behind Studio Cigar Lounge. But the administration blocked it. When we had a developer that developed apartments there that gave the city $250,000 for that project, and the owner was tacking on another $250,000 where it wasn't going to cost the city anything. Mm. Where's that money? What is it being used for? I went to a DDA meeting when this was being discussed, and the applicant that received the money, or that was receiving the money for that project, he actually got up to speed. And he said this money was designated for Citizens Park. Why is it that we're holding on to it? City administration is never there for those type of meetings. He was there for that meeting. The mayor was in the back of the room. But they still have not released that money so we can complete this project. It makes no sense. You got a master park plan. You don't have the money to do anything, but we had $250,000 given to the city, and another entity giving us another $250,000. It was no brainer. This should have been done 2 years ago. Guess what? It's not done. I'm going to look into that as well. Now, yes, we do have a master's parks plan, but my opponent is saying, while we have that plan, we don't have the money to do anything. We want to put other pocket parks throughout the city. That's a great idea. It's a great opportunity, and it can be achieved. So my plan would be, we have multi-million-dollar companies right here in the city of Fairburn. Why are they not giving back to our city? This is something that can be done, and I'm going to be the mayor that's going to reach out to the CEOs, bring them to the table, and we're going to have a very frank conversation. Yeah, you're making multiple $1 million here in our city, but you're not putting anything back into our city. We deserve better. We're going to get better under my administration. What else do we need here in the city of Fairburn? Our downtown area, we have no life downtown whatsoever. Nothing. Still trying to get restaurants downtown. We have 2 buildings owned by the city of Fairburn, the train depots. 2 of the occupants that had restaurants are no longer there. It's going on 2 years now with both of those being empty because of a process that has been implemented to put somebody in there. Now, let me be fair. There's a restaurant coming into one of them, finally, but we have another one. I believe that there's certain things in government that can be sped up, and there's other things that should be slowed down. Was a no-brainer. This one should have been sped up. We could have vetted the various people that were submitting their applications, and we could have had someone in there over a year ago, but that hasn't happened. But that's because even though the city administrator, he does the day-to-day, but you have to have a mayor that he's answering to. Now, yes, they're supposed to answer the mayor and council. When I go to him, I'm not getting all the right answers, but the mayor is getting all the answers. He works for mayor and council. That has to be reestablished. With myself as mayor and my new council, I'm going to make sure they are very much in touch and aware that they are empowered to ask questions and get the correct answers, not spoon-fed little snippets of information. In order to make a informed decision, you should have foreknowledge of everything. That's what I want to bring to this new council and my position as mayor of the city of Fairburn. Now, again, there's a lot that's happening in the city of Fairburn. I've talked to our seniors. I went and I purposely made it my business to go 2 times to talk to the seniors at the manor at Broad Street. I did that for a reason because they engaged me in the first meeting, which I loved, and that is on my website, or rather on my social media page for Facebook. But if you go to my website, votejameswhitmore.com, scroll down, hit my Facebook link, and scroll down, and you'll see all those things as well. But in having conversation with them, I am even more in tune with some of the issues that they are having. You know, our seniors are on fixed incomes, not just at the manor at Broad Street, but throughout the city of Fairburn. We have to look at ways of doing things to assist our senior citizens. Now, we've done some things. I don't want anybody to leave this interview and think that the city of Fairburn is just ignoring our citizens. We have done some things, but there's more that can be done. We have, during the winter months, we have high energy rates, and our seniors suffer from that. And in the summer months, when we have the heat of the summer, and as hot as I don't know what here in the state of Georgia, and they have to burn those air conditioners. But we have times when we have shut off people's electricity without paying attention to what the government says that what we can and cannot do until it was brought to the administrator's attention. They had to go back and turn them back on. You know, there's guidelines. All right. You have to make sure that you're aware of the guidelines and you follow them. We have people that have medical conditions that need their oxygen. We can't be turning them off. Let's find a way to work with our partners here in the city of Fairburn to assist those individuals. Let's work on looking at our pocketbooks within the city of Fairburn. Instead of us having all these lunch meetings with staff and spending all this money, which adds up per department, why not putting that money to the side for utilities for our seniors? Well, that's my proposal. The other thing I said to our seniors is that I am going to initiate a seniors advisory board. That way, our seniors can meet, and then they bring that information to me to look at, and then it's my directive to the city administrator to look at things that we can do to assist them. We do not have a way of really having that door of communication open. There should not ever be a government, I don't care if it's the city of Fairburn, any other of our 8 cities down here in the South, we should always have open door communications. And I heard from so many of our citizens that they call City Hall, they trying to reach the city administrator or the assistant city administrator, they leave messages and they never get return calls. That's not good. That is not good at all. I plan to change all that. They should always get a response, always, without fail. So those are just some of the things that I'm looking at for the city of Fairburn, and I know that they can definitely be accomplished. It doesn't take much. You have to think outside the box. In other words, instead of having those blindfolds on like a racehorse, you have to go ahead and change them. So now you're looking at everything peripherally, which is 180 and moving forward. Things that happened in the past, that's the past. You can't do anything about the past. All you can do is improve and make change. I am the agent of change. I plan on working for the city of Fairburn, the citizens who I worked for as a councilman for almost 10 years, and I'm going to continue to do so as your mayor.
Mr. Whitmore, I thank you so much for sharing all of that, because I was sitting over here taking notes of some of the things that you have recognized that serves as an issue within the city of Fairburn, and also took note of some of the things that you have, you know, available, that you have, came up with to serve as a solution for some of those things. Because for the most part, with me being a young man, 31 years old, a lot of people in a lot of conversations that I do have, it talks about certain things that are in the current state, and then they come to the conclusion that the government doesn't care, people don't understand, and they just have this resistance to the leaders within the community, as if you all really don't listen. But hearing you and share and relay the information in some of the plans that you do have as a result of when you become mayor, we're going to go ahead and just say that when you become mayor, it just shows a couple of things that I would like to just, say thank you for. First of all, it shows that you are holding people accountable, because as you had mentioned before, you said that there was a master plan, a master system that they were trying to stick to, and not recognize the potential economic growth that was, that was available right there. And so therefore the funds that were made available to advance the city of Fairburn, it is on hold at this moment, and you're asking those right questions that many people may not be comfortable asking. So I thank you for holding this accountable right here. Go ahead, sir.
Well, let me share this because
Mhm.
I want everyone listening to the sound of my voice to understand this one important thing.
Yes, sir.
If you haven't been going to council meetings, you need to start.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
yes, it's cool that you're watching it from the comforts of your home, but when a mayor and council see you show up in chambers, it
Yes.
means a lot. So let's talk about August of last year.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about staff that was presenting, stating that they wanted to go up on the mill rate, where we have not gone up on our mill rate. And the mill rate, yes, means increase your taxes. All right. The city of Fairburn has a 35% reserve account. That means for every dollar that comes in as taxes, 35 cents goes into the reserves. Right. Now, that's not the norm for many, many municipalities, but
Mm.
that has put us in a position to have money in the reserves for emergencies. I agree with that. But by going up 1.5% on the mill rate was going to bring in $2 million into the coffers of the city of Fairburn on the taxpayers' back. I spoke up against it. I said, no, we can't do this. We already went up on utility rates. Utility rates haven't gone up in over 10 years. I understand we have to do that. The utilities have to be self-sustainable. Got it. But why are we just trying to bring in $2 million to do what with? All right. Fought it. The compromise was we went down to 28% and they still got the $2 million. Right. Those are the things that I'm talking about that we as elected officials have to be very conscious about. Because again, look at what's happening around us. Look at what's happening in Washington, D.C. Look at what's happening even with the WIC and the food stamps. You know, we're going to go right back to a food desert as we did during the pandemic. And by the way, I was the only council person going into the office to work with Mayor Hurst during the pandemic. And we worked together and we made sure we were doing things for our people. Things like what? My colleague in East Point, a USDA, had USDA bringing truckloads down. I took my personal truck along with my trailer, along with city vehicles, and we packed those vehicles down. And we brought it and shared with a couple of the churches. And then we made sure that that food was going to those that were in need. We're in the food desert, okay? Yes, I had to wear gloves. Yes, I had to wear a mask. I didn't think about my health. I thought about all those people out there that was suffering. We need to do things like that because when people see that you're out there trying to assist and help, they appreciate it and they remember you. Now, getting back to the budget, I also brought up about all these employees that were recently hired over the past 4 years under the current administration, most of them coming out of the city of South Fulton. And what alarmed me was the high salaries. We only 18,000 citizens in the city of Fairburn. We're not like our sister part city that has over 100,000. They can pay those high salaries. We can't pay those salaries on the backs of our citizens. It's not right. And then what it caused was a disruption within all those that have stayed with the city for all these years. We used to call them the street department. They have another name now. The city of Fairburn was the first city here in the South out of the 8 cities that went to a 15-hour wage. But that was many years ago. We still have room to grow to give them a livable wage. That needs to be addressed. Instead of paying all these people these high salaries, we should be addressing our lower paid hourly workers to make sure that they can live and sustain themselves with their families. There's so many ways and so many other areas that we can dive into to do the right thing. And we don't have to raise taxes to do that. We have to just adjust things and make sure that we're good stewards of our finances. You know, we have a responsibility as elected officials to ensure that everything that we do is being done the correct way for our citizens. We're the stewards. Let's be stewards and let's do what we know we should be doing. So as I talk about even the budget, you know, mm-hmm. I was told by the mayor, he said, "Why are you so hard on staff?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, the questions that you ask." I said, "Mayor, if you listen to my line of questioning, and if you listen to the responses, and then when I have a follow-up question, you notice that staff would look over at the city administrator." I found out later that they were told, "Don't talk about certain things." How can you not talk about certain things when you have your elected body asking those hard questions so they can get a full understanding so we can approve or disapprove whatever it is you're proposing for a budget? That's our duties. That's what we're responsible for. Don't try to hide things. Put everything out on the table so we can see and make informed decisions. So I'm one that sat up on that dais that just did not go for it, did not accept it. I'm going to have the same type of delivery as a mayor. I'm not going to be a micromanager. I don't have to be a micromanager. All I have to look at the results. The results will tell me whether or not we're successful or not. And that's the key. We have to put in place ideas, and we have to work on things that is not considered the norm, but is outside the box. guess what? We're not getting all the money that we want from the federal government anymore, which means we're not getting all the money we want from the state, which means we're not getting all the money we want from Fulton County, which means things are going to get tough, which means we're going to have to be shrewd in how we view things and what we can buy, what we can't buy, but it can be done. And that's why you have to reach out to our other businesses throughout the city that are thriving and doing very well. The Googles, the Duracell, and I can go on and on and on. It's time for us to reach out to these CEOs and bring them to the table. They have been very savvy in the way they run their businesses, but now it's time for us to be savvy and bring them to the table here in the city of Fairburn. As mayor, that's what I will be doing. As mayor, I'm going to look at the budget, and there's going to be some things that's going to have to be crossed out of that budget. We have to do what's right. Now, look, we're blessed where we have an A1 rating for our fire department. We have many cities that are envious of the city of Fairburn for that A1 rating. We need that A1 rating because our fire department, they do a bang up job. Now, we also have the same thing with our police department. I have been an advocate for our safety individuals from day one that I came on board as elected official. And that still remains to the day. But you know, I do have some issues and some concerns. Back over 4 years ago, under the previous mayor's administration, when she got out of office, that following year, January, February, we got a report which showed the previous year we was considered one of the top 10 safest cities in Georgia. Now that's not something to shake loose and say, oh man, that's big. That's
Exactly.
real, that's huge.
Yes.
Well, if you look over the past 4 years, we're not even on that list anymore. That's a problem. So I need to look at that. I need to say, what are we doing? Or the better question would be, what are we not doing? All right. Our citizens deserve better. So we have to take a look at that as well. There's so many aspects of the city that needs to be reviewed. But see, this is where new council is going to come in play. And yes, they're going to be green. All right. But this is where you give them some additional duties to start looking at various departments and working with the city administrator. And let's make sure we're coming collectively together to make it work for everybody. This can be done, and it will be done under my leadership.
Great people. I hope that you are really hearing the optimistic yet realistic plans and views of Mayor candidate James Whitmore. And that's why I opened up my platforms to people such as himself, so that way you can hear for yourself and not just hear something that's, just campaign driven, but actually hear his heart, the heart behind the movement. The fact that he's welcoming in the camaraderie and the cohesive working between council and mayor, and also as well as from the leadership to the citizens. He's hearing all of the problems and he's laying out all of the issues right now, and also being real with you by saying, hey, some things may have to be cut out, some things may have to change. But as he just stated earlier in the interview, that he's an agent of change. So I have to relate this. See, you done changed up and shifted the whole interview format. And I'm so grateful for it, because it allows for you the proper time to really get out what it is that you are addressing. And I thank you first and foremost for addressing these issues and asking the tough questions that you've heard the citizens ask, but you're in a position to be face to face with these people who are able to make change. And most importantly, I'm so grateful that you have really encouraged the listeners and viewers to go to these council meetings, because I tell people all the time, a lot of this thing, the questions that they have, is made available. It's online. it's also talked about and discussed in depth in those council meetings. So I'm so grateful to hear you say that and also continue to encourage that as well. And finally, a lot of, like I've said before, I'm a part of the younger generation, and you just relayed a lot of information. And so, with all of this here, and you showing that you really listen to the citizens, I would love for you to take the time right now to really relay the importance of our age group really going out there taking advantage of early voting. The floor is yours.
Well, I thank you for that. But before I address that,
Hmm.
let me address one of my major accomplishments as an elected official.
Yes, sir.
Uh, when I became elected, first thing I did was I needed a summer program to come to the city of Fairburn, something that no one has seen before.
Hmm.
The program was called Mental Fitness ATL, Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Math. That program was so impressive that we had various colleges working for us. Georgia Tech provided 25 laptops for our robotics program. 25 laptops, zero cost. Okay. That was huge. But what was going on throughout the summer was the fact that all the robotics that they were doing, at the end of the summer, all the data went to Georgia Tech for review. If we would have came in first place, all that data would have gone to NASA. That's
Mm.
first year out, we came in second place. Wow. Right. So then I said, we can't just wait until next summer to have another program like this for our youth.
Mm.
We need a after school program under this umbrella. Right. I
Mm.
was told, no, it's too late. We can't do it. As an elected official, you can't tell me no. There's a way to get it done. I waited until that council meeting and I added that item on for discussion to add a after school program. And my colleagues supported me on that. Well, guess what? After I gave my presentation of what I was hearing from the parents and the children about their program,
Mm.
we voted it in and we had it up until about a year or two ago, maybe going on 2 years now.
Mm.
Right? So just about my whole tenure, we had that program. You know, there comes a time when you really got to think deep and you got to say, well, yeah, that's a for-profit program, but the owner of that program, he kept my mandate. I said, listen, I want to make sure that every child that wants to come has an opportunity to come,
Mm.
right? And we also need to find a way to take care of those that do not have the ability to pay. So we need a scholarship. He kept my mandate, beautiful program. Now he's no longer in the city of Fairburn. But in working with him, even during the pandemic, just before the pandemic, there's a councilman out in LA, Los Angeles, California, that called him. He went out there. They loved the program. I was going to go back out with him on the next trip, but the pandemic was so heavy that didn't happen. But
Mm.
the thought that that program that was housed in the city of Fairburn and they watched it from afar, and we started another satellite in Chattahoochee Hills, that spoke volumes. It really put that stamp of approval on the program for our youth.
Mm.
I want to bring that program back to the city of Fairburn. That's another mandate of mine. Now, when you talk about individuals in your age bracket, okay,
Mm.
some people don't understand that I may look young, but I am up in age, okay? But my ability to communicate,
Yes,
my
sir.
ability to understand,
Mm.
my ability to use social media, my ability to be a good listener and turning what I hear into an actionable item. So I remember, it's 2 years now. There was a young man that I met at a pizza bar, and he called me and he said, "James, my fiance and I would like to have a word with you." This guy works for uh, like a Google company.
Mm-hmm.
His wife is airline stewardess. So sure, no problem, but our schedules didn't match up. But when he met with me one on one, he said, "I want you to marry my wife and I. We don't know anybody here in Georgia, but we like your personality and we like your approach on things." They're in your age bracket.
Mm-hmm.
That meant the world to me. So yes, I did marry them. I married them almost 2 years ago now up in the mountains of Georgia. But in so doing, with the organization that he works with, and I even asked some personal questions because those people who work for Google, they some pretty smooth, suave type individuals.
Mm-hmm.
You learn things. But see, with your age bracket, that's why I'm always looking for who's going to replace me in my seat. That's why I support one of the people I support is Ryan Tribe. The other is Shanita Nichols. You know why? They're your age bracket.
Mm-hmm.
They understand the issues that y'all have. The council should never be a council of everybody that we're all so old, okay, that we don't understand all age brackets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've been an agent of from my youngest youth to my oldest senior. I've been successful with that. Why? Because I listen. I'm able to digest and figure out what is the best actionable way of addressing those things. So I'm going to continue to talk to your age bracket
Mm-hmm.
because y'all think a little differently. And that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, looking at what's happening down in Washington, D.C., 5 years from now, and if you're not thinking differently, you're going to be left out. We need your age bracket to help us with these new innovative ways of thinking,
Mm-hmm.
doing, and executing.
Mm-hmm.
So with my administration, the door is going to be open to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that I have those that are in the 30, 40 range to come in as well. I want to at least once a quarter have a sit down with the mayor. That's important because if staff is not grasping everything and something is sliding by, I don't want things to slide by. I want them to be addressed and find a way to make sure they're actionable. Actionable is the operative word, which means we're going to start and we're going to complete it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what needs to happen for your age bracket, younger than you and older than you. It can be done. It will be done. Under my administration, I promise it will be done.
That was a great answer. And I asked that straight from a ministerial standpoint in the sense of you being a man of God. You know, word says, "And all I get and get understanding." And by that means right there, that means that from each generation, there has to be some understanding and some working together that goes on and allows for us to really, listen, because the word says, be slow to speak, quick to hear, and being able to utilize these things here. Just a little quick side note. I had did a teaching about those God's leadership. So if somebody, a man of God, who's actually utilizing what is there in a practical way for all to be able to benefit from it, it's just an awesome thing to hear. And great people, like I said, I opened up my platform for people who are running in these elections, so that way when you go to the polls, and there's some people who go and say, "Oh, I don't do that," but I'm just saying, if you exercise your right, you would at least know for a fact that after you hear what it is that you have heard, then you will be able to say, that aligns. I agree with that. That is practical and that's actionable. So that way now we can really see these plans really fall out and play out. And then after that, you can say, hey, I can track what he's done in 6 months, a year, 2 years, all of that good stuff. So that way, when you hear that, and if it's not looking that way, hey, let's get an understanding of what's going on. And if it is, okay, we see that he understands and his administration understands. So that way we can continue to move forward, and that continues to build momentum for a better tomorrow today. That is amazing, sir. And I really appreciate you for taking that stance and really, being as involved as you are. Because, like I said, when we first had our first conversation, I know that one of the main things that we were talking about was getting the people out and, getting the people active and things of that nature. And I know that this time is running out on the show, but the floor is yours once again for any last words that you would like to leave for the city of Fairburn and for everybody out there, because I've heard you mention different states and different people in different cities that you have worked with and talked to. So they say, hey, we can get some stuff to go in here. So any final words that you would like to share for the listeners and viewers right now? The floor is yours.
Oh, absolutely. As we know, as of yesterday, Halloween, last day for early voting has concluded. Now, I have a report. Listen to me, Fairburnites. I have a report of 177 pages of those of you who have not voted. I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about it because I want people to understand that your local election is more important than your national election. Those of us that are locally are going to be looking out for you. Okay, remember my tagline, I'm working for the people. In order for me to work for you, I need your vote so I can get in office as the mayor-elect on this coming November the 4th, Tuesday, once all the votes are counted. Now, I'm going to be reaching out to you, and I hope that you share this interview with anybody and everybody, whether in the city of Fairburn, Chat Hills, Union City, City of South Fulton, East Point, Hateville, wherever. Please go out and vote. It's not about me. It's about exercising your right to vote. Now, yes, I want your vote. I'm asking for your vote. All right. I want you to vote James Whitmore for mayor here in the city of Fairburn. But I also want you to pay attention to those that are running for the other seats. It's important to have a mayor and a council where we're all on one accord and we're working in unison with each other. Mm-hmm. My promise as your mayor-elect, that's when the work really starts. It starts with me reaching out to new council, having conversations with them. It's also important that I work to heal our city. We're divided right now. I don't like that. We have to bring our city together. I am the one agent of change that can accomplish that. But in order to do it, I need your vote. I ask for your vote. Vote James Whitmore on November the 4th. Go to my website, votejameswhitmore.com. Go to my social media pages. Just go to my website, scroll down, go hit my Facebook page. Go hit the other sites that I have as well. It's important to look at the information that I have out there and to understand what my platform is. And my platform is not of lip service. My platform is one of action. And I assure you, action you shall receive. Vote James Whitmore, Mayor, City of Fairburn.
There you have it, great people. You heard it first from the man himself, Mr. James Whitmore. Great people, this is why, and this is what we do on Worldwide Community Empowerment Group. Not only are you empowered, but you're also educated on the things that are going on and the people who are agents of change with plans to do something about it. And as you have heard, Mr. James Whitmore has laid out some of his plans that he plans to enact when elected mayor. So you've seen the numbers that he has listed. for those who have not voted or exercised their right to vote on November 4th, hey, exercise their right. And once more, vote for James Whitmore. That's what he's letting you know. And also, y'all do y'all due diligence as well, because like he said, it is imperative that you understand how important your local government is. I know y'all look at the main thing up at the White House, but inside of your city confinements, I really need for you to do y'all homework and do your due diligence so you can see who's actually speaking for you. Because those in the local send the complaints and send everything up there to the main show at the White House, and they're actually taking your voice there. They're serving as a representation of every citizen, so therefore they are listening. All right, great people. Listen, Mr. Whitmore, I want to thank you so much for being a guest on this show right here. Humbly appreciative. And you know, I am here for you. And if you have to come back up here once again, maybe months down the line, just to relay and update the people on what's going on, my door is open for you, sir.
Well, we appreciate that. And I tell you, it really means a lot to me, Ashton. Again, when we first met, there was something about you. Now I found out during this interview what that is. So you got some word in you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm grateful. God is so awesome. And, you know, I'm just blessed to be in this spot right here because, you know, a lot of ministers that I come across, you know, sometimes when it comes to the conversation of politics, they're like, hey, we got to stay out of it and things of that nature. And listen, I understand where they're coming from. But at the same time, we have people out here who walking around in fear because they do not know. But hearing you and having an opportunity and being in a media space to allow for you to fully elaborate on the things that you're saying and really connect with the people and show that you are tangible, that they can actually get in contact with you. I'm like, hey, we can extend that opportunity and then you can see the heart within the person that's sitting in office. So that's why I'm so grateful for this moment here to be able to connect with people such as yourself and many others out here that are either running for office or at least trying to say, hey, I can at least sit in these council meetings and I can, you know, represent my neighborhood or something. And they can sit in front of something like that. I deem it as an honor, and just so everybody can really understand what's going on. And like I'm with you, I encourage you all to go to these council meetings. They let you know the days that they're happening and all of that good stuff. You can go to your government website, you will see where it's at. But once more, if you want to know more about Mr. James Whitmore, can you give them the website one more time, good sir?
I certainly can. Vote James Whitmore. That's WHITMORE.com. That's votejameswhitmore.com.
Thank you so much, sir. Listen, y'all, I told y'all time be flying. You know what I'm saying? But I thank you so much to all the listeners and viewers, no matter if you're live now or you will watch this later. This will be continuously shared. And I know, Mr. Whitmore, you're going to share this as well on your platforms as well. So to all of my listeners and viewers all across the WCEG Network, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Millennial Talk Blessed Coast Edition. It's the home of the one and only Ashton Reynolds. And listen, y'all enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your week and all of that good stuff. And know that you have people that truly care about you, which is why we all aim to empower all of you in some way, shape, or form. All right? We love you. God bless you. And we'll see you on the next one.
All right.